And if you can remember that narcissists are liars, then when they tell you things like, you'll never meet anybody, you can't be happy without me, when they tell you things like that, you can say, oh yeah? Watch me. Yo, what's up? Welcome back to Psychopath Exposure. My name is Kira. Right before I started this video, I had to start over because a comment popped up that got my attention. And I'll just read it real quick and then I'm going to read the actual comment that I wanted to highlight. So this one just says, I think you're the only person I've ever heard to use the term entanglement. And that made me laugh because the reason I call it an entanglement is because in my head, when you're in a toxic relationship with a narcissist or a psychopath, I consider them snakes. So it's like you're being entangled by the snake. So that's just why I use the term entanglement. But I'm sure I'm not the only one that uses that one. Anyway, so if this is your first time in the channel, we talk here about toxic relationships, narcissist personality disorder. I need to say narcissist slower because then some of you might think I'm just saying narcissist or some nonsense like that. You know, sometimes I read some comments and they're totally misspelled and people spell narcissist in the weirdest ways. So I'm starting to like say it the way I read it sometimes by not by accident but more like unconsciously. Anyway, let me not go into a tangent and let me stick to what I wanted to talk about today. So this comment came from, see, YouTube just changed the way the names on the comments were. It used to actually have the name that you would pick. Now it's just showing the handle of the channel. So it's coming from Daria Burdovnik 8052. So I might just stop using the names and I'll just show the screenshot as I always do. Anyway, so they go, ha ha ha, great channel and thank you. My narc ex was telling me my soul and his were one. Ha 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 ha. And that I won't be able to escape or be without him anyways. Ooh, threatening. You bet I am enjoying my life, clarity, purity, and authenticity right now. Blessed be all victims and survivors of that hell on earth. Damn right, it is hell on earth. That's exactly what it feels like. But it's interesting how delusional and grandiose these narcissists are, where they threaten you and tell you you won't be able to escape, and then they contradict themselves with that, and then it becomes you won't be able to live without me type of thing. And some of them are so delusional, and it's like if I can't have you, then nobody can. Like that's another extreme. But I love how strong you are, and you're like, you bet I am enjoying my life. Damn right you are. Damn right, you know, what the hell? See, I just totally butchered that and I don't have time to edit it out. So let's continue. I'm so happy to hear that despite the threats, despite the fear-based attacks that your narcissist ex threw at you, I'm happy to see that you've overcome that and you're like, damn right, I'm enjoying my life and I've got clarity and I got purity and authenticity. Because that's exactly what it is. When you're dating a narcissist, when you're dating a psychopath, the brain fog is so intense. You lose your identity. You lose your purity. You lose your authenticity. I can tell you how quickly you lose your authenticity is that you're no longer being authentic with yourself. You're dancing around the truth. You're walking on eggshells, afraid of pissing off the narcissist, afraid the narcissist is going to punish you. How do they punish you? Well, in so many ways. There's obviously abuse, all sorts of abuse, domestic abuse, but a lot of times people fear, you know what victims of narcissistic abuse feel? Fear. I just can't talk today. Sorry guys, but I gotta be unapologetic, so I take that sorry back. A lot of the fear that victims of narcissistic abuse have is the fear of abandonment, a fear that you're going to piss off the narcissist and they're going to dip, because that's what they do. They disappear and they vanish, they ghost, and they won't take your calls and they won't respond to your texts. Now, do you think that they're home playing video games? Do you think they're working on their golf game? Do you think they're bowling? Do you think they're out there shooting hoops, working on their free throws? No. They're most likely with the new supply, with the person they're cheating on you with, that person that you already suspect. That's the fear. The fear is not just them taking off. Excuse me. It's not just them taking off. It's the fear that when they take off, they're going to be with the other person behind your back. And since they have their phone off and you can't get any type of confirmation that, hey, I'm just home, I'm just trying to cool off, or I went out for a drink, or I just went out to sit under a tree and calm down and meditate even, you're not getting that confirmation. You're getting silence. So it's natural for the other underlying fears to come out. And the more time passes that the narcissist dodges your call, the more the fear arises and gets stronger and stronger and stronger. And you know what happens when you have a strong emotion? It triggers more thoughts. And then the thoughts go hand in hand with those emotions. So it produces more thoughts that produce more of the same intense negative emotion. And it magnifies that fear. And then you're sitting there and you're thinking to yourself, wow, what the hell just happened? We were having a good night, we were about to go out to dinner, and they blew up over some nonsense. And now they're not taking my call. Well, I'm sure they're going to call me back in a few minutes. And then those few minutes turn to 30 minutes. Okay, they're about to call. They're not gonna ghost me for an hour. Well, yes, they do. And then an hour passes by, and then you're like, wow, I can't believe it's been an hour. They're not gonna come home? And then it turns into 2 and 3, and before you know it, you're pulling your hair out. And now you're convinced that the narcissist is out cheating, or the new supplies house, or one thing or the other. That's how this cycle works. And you know what? The moment you hear back from them, the moment they finally call you, you see their name pop up on your phone, all that fear, all that anxiety temporarily goes away. You get a rush of serotonin, you feel good, right? Because that's your drug, right? That's that drug that you just love and crave. And then what? You fight, they gaslight you, they tell you some BS that you know is not true, and the cycle repeats itself. You know, of course it's psychologically damaging. How could it not? But when you finally get out, okay, we're skipping a lot of steps here, but when you finally get out, and now you got the narcissist telling you things like you can't escape and you won't be happy without me and you can't live without me. You're going to fail out there. You're never going to meet anyone like me. I'm the best you'll ever have, yada, yada, yada. If you're not mentally strong, right? If you're not authentic, if you're not pure in your thoughts, you will entertain that black magic. You will entertain those dark words and you will believe them. And you will be convinced. That's the spell that the narcissist puts on you. You will be convinced that the narcissist is right, and that you will be alone, and that you won't meet anyone better, and that they're the best you could have ever had. So it plants that seed in your head. So even when they're out cheating, deep inside you feel like, well, I have to put up with it because I'm never going to find anyone better than them. The narcissist is the best thing you've ever had or will ever have. And none of that is true unless you believe it. Because whatever we believe tends to manifest itself in reality. It's whatever we believe. So I challenge your belief system. I challenge your belief system. What if the narcissist is wrong? What if the narcissist is lying to you? Isn't that what narcissists do? They lie. They are pathological liars. So why are you going to believe the words of someone with a history of pathological lying? And yet it works, doesn't it? They're such good gaslighters that they can get you to believe the BS that they tell you. They can get you to believe it. But, you know, when I read comments like this, it makes me laugh. Because they did the total opposite. They're actually enjoying their life. And they're pointing out how it was hell on earth. Because isn't that what it feels like? Hell on earth. When you start getting your purity and your authenticity back, then you're no longer afraid of calling people out on their behaviors. You're not afraid of calling out the narcissist for their abusive behaviors, for their unacceptable behaviors. You're no longer afraid to take action when they've crossed your boundaries, when the non-negotiables have been exploited. You're no longer afraid to do what it is that you have to do, whether you feel like it or not, to improve the circumstances of your life. It's interesting how many victims of narcissistic abuse will try to convince me if there's a way to get them back, or they're going to give them one more chance because I need to know if I try it one more time, and if I say this, or if I try that, I want to be convinced. And I always tell them, I'm like, I know exactly how this is going to play out. And a lot of times I go ahead and I spell it out for them. I go, this is exactly how it's going to be. It's going to be this way, then they're going to do this, they're going to say that, and they're going to bring this up, and this is what's going to happen. And I'm not trying to sound cocky or anything like that. I've just done this work for a long time. It's easily predictable. You guys are getting good at it too. You've been studying these videos, and you've been studying the patterns of behavior of your boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, or husband, or whatever. And it's like they all went to the same school, right? They all went to the same school. Lucifer was the instructor, and they all passed the test with flying colors. And the colors were black, even though black is not a color. It's the absence of light. The absence of color too. So, you know, just like that, the absence of thought, because I just lost my train of thought, you know. So, go ahead and fill in the blanks right now, what you would like me to say, until I remember the point that I was getting at. But it was something to do with how narcissists are liars. And if you can remember that narcissists are liars, then when they tell you things like, you'll never meet anybody, you can't be happy without me, when they tell you things like that, you can say, oh yeah? Watch me. And that will be your motivation. And let that be what gets you up in the morning, just to prove to the narcissist, even though when I say that, I don't want you to actually prove it to them, because that's still keeping them in your life. I don't want you to have contact with the narcissist if you don't have to. But the intention of, if the narcissist is stalking my social media, if the narcissist is stalking me somehow, if the narcissist is keeping tabs through my friends or family to see how I'm doing, because that's what they do, because they're losers. If they're doing that, I want them to see how happy I am, how I've moved on, and how I'm not giving them a second thought. I'm not posting garbage on social media, trashing the narcissist. I'm not talking about them. I'm not taking little passive-aggressive digs. I want them to see how they're dead to me and how indifferent I've become towards them. Let that be your motivation. They think you're not going to be happy? Watch me. And tell me if that doesn't get you up in the morning. And tell me if that doesn't pierce through that bubble of panic and anxiety that you get in the mornings, the moment you open your eyes and realize it's a new day, and all the thoughts and all the trauma comes pouring in like a bomb. Tell me if this motivation doesn't somehow skew that pattern and warp it a little bit. Try it. Try it, because let me tell you, that's one of the things I did when I was getting over my psychopathic ex many years ago. It was that when I tapped into that energy, when I got all the dark energy from the anxiety and the panic and the fear and the trauma, when I got all of that, what the hell is this? Oh, that's my timer. So you get all that energy, and because energy can't be created nor destroyed, but you get that energy and you transfer it and you say, I'm going to use this energy now to get me up in the morning, to get me fired up, and to go do whatever it is that I need to do to make my life better and to find my happiness, to find my purpose, to find my purity, my clarity, my authenticity, and become a better person today, every day, 1% better every day, 0.5% better every day. Use that energy. Let that energy drive you. And everything else over time starts to fall into place. All right? So here's what I want you to do. If you got some value from this video, I want you to drop a comment below with what have you guys been doing so far from the knowledge that you've understood. What have you guys been doing that has you motivated to move forward? Because I know it's hard. I know we lose the will to live. We lose all inspiration and motivation. But there are times that we tap into something. We tap into some higher power. We tap into some sort of a source that gets us going, that tells us it's going to be okay. I'm going to get through this. Sometimes it only happens for like a few seconds, and you get that spark and you feel it. And that's the spark that gets you moving, right? What have you guys been doing? What is it that you've channeled into? Whether it's God, whether it's religion, whether it's the gym. What have you guys tapped into that gets you guys going? Because believe me, the more ideas we put out there, the more options we have to try different things. Because this is a community, we're all working together on this. And this type of work, it's not just for narcissists, narcissistic abusive relationships. A lot of the stuff that we do in this type of recovery helps us become better people in other areas of life. So it's worth it. When you get good at this, like I've mentioned before, you get through a relationship with a psychopath and you're gonna feel like nothing can stop you. All right? So take a minute right now and type that up in the comments below, and also drop a like in the video if you got some value. All right? If this is your first time in the channel, please subscribe and click on the bell icon so that you can get notified when I drop another video like this. And until next time, my name is Kira. This is Psychopath Exposure. Have an awesome day, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Take care.